Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Moonlighters Club. Shep, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, man? How are you? I'm
I'm
going
well.
well.
I think this is a first. First of all, I gotta thank you. First of all, thank you for doing this. But secondly, I've never done anything. Well, I take that back. We've done showcases live,
Mhm.
but never done interviews live. They were either in person, a microphone, or like virtual recorded.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
So this is when you were like, "Yo," I saw the flyers. You're like, "Let's do it." I'm like, "Why not? Why not do this?" So all this stuff is super new because I'm too
Oh,
like
wow.
I'm too cerebral with it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, but no one cares. Who this? And I can do this. But I also think,
For
hey,
some
if
re
one, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say if one person could tune in and this is like, yay, then I'm like, good, mission accomplished.
I hear you. I try to get people to tune in and everything. I send it to everybody, so hopefully we should be getting some people. But I appreciate you, this first time going live. I didn't even put two and two together that it was your first time.
Yeah. Because I'm when you were saying, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go on it. So yeah, no, it's I'm glad that we can test it out, see what goes. But regardless of what happens, everyone, we're gonna have a safe conversation that we can keep. Hopefully, it's not
Hmm.
our only one, and we can keep going.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're new to this, the anyone listening, the Moonlighters Club started out years ago because me and a bunch of other friends were trying to start some kind of entrepreneurial life, and we all had to work. I was in school. I went back to school, and I was
Hmm.
building an app, and I'm like, yo, this app is going to take off because I can't work, and it did not happen. So I had to get a job, and one of my good friends, I'm still good friends with, he was a cop at the school that I went back to called Suffolk University. Bro, he was a cop who was also a comic, just stand-up comic and actor.
Oh
So
man, awesome.
he'd work. His name was Sean Bedgood. He'd work overnight shifts. Sean would work overnight shifts on breaks or like when he like off days or on breaks. He would go do
Hmm.
sets, bro, at like midnight or 11, and he would
Wow,
do sets, network, chill,
I love
work
that.
the overnight. Eventually, he moved to Los Angeles to pursue his career. He's been in a couple things. Oh, he was just in a Marvel. He was just in a commercial for a Marvel show. I gotta look up. Uh, but yeah, we been doing it for a while.
Hmm.
So the point of this podcast is we want to highlight people who work. Employees drive everything, but and so do entrepreneurs. And these are people who are both or were at one point. And the point is to talk about that passion outside of your job. If you want to talk about
Hmm.
your job as well, but the passion outside why you do stuff you do.
Absolutely.
And through that, that's how I met you. So
Yeah.
Shep, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Hey man, thank you for allowing me to be here. So I'm honored, I'm blessed. So yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, we met at the 2 year anniversary of the Black Jeans Art Show in
Black
Baltimore.
Genius. Shout out Brian Robinson.
Yeah, Brian. Brian was at the showcase. Are you from Baltimore? Born and raised?
Yeah, I'm from Baltimore, born and raised. I lived out in like the county area during my middle and high school years, but came back for college and then just kind of stayed here and got integrated into the music and art scene, and then got to the events later on in my life.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Where'd you go to college? You said
So
you went away.
no, I actually came back to Baltimore for college. I went to Coppin State University,
Okay.
HBCU over West Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Parents went there, my mom went there. So it's kind of like a little bit of a tradition almost. And, it was
Nice.
great staying home too and just staying around family. And, even in college, like it was a different life for me because, I came from a school, even though I was born in Baltimore, most of my middle and high school years were at like more of a mixed school, or more of a yeah. Well, let's just say mixed school because I don't know how we can get on this podcast. But when I came up to Coppin, it was almost like a reverse kind of culture shock. It was just like,
Okay.
wow, you know what I mean? Because like it took me a while to even get accepted into kind of like the groups in Coppin. So, but after a while, it was a great time. You know what I mean? I learned a lot. I got integrated to the scene and just kind of like even kind of like remember who I was at one point. So it was good.
Yeah, and you can talk however you want. Feel free. I know what
Yeah,
you mean.
yeah.
Especially you're from Baltimore. For those who don't know, I grew up in Boston. I live in
Hmm.
DC now. DC's always had a reputation of being chocolate, well, most chocolate city, and it's been gentrified. But Baltimore, less talked about, is a black ass city. Like Baltimore is very,
Hmm.
very black. Black holes are
Hmm.
everywhere. They're integrated, and that's actually a lot of Maryland, right? DC, Maryland, Virginia, Baltimore. There's a lot of black holes here. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like you can have
Yeah.
experiences in Baltimore where all you're seeing are black folks, but then you drive 5 minutes, it's mixed. Maybe it's all white,
Hmm.
maybe it's a different ethnic group. But then you have this HBCU and Coppin, and then also it's a HBCU. So
Hmm.
that's my wife went to North Carolina A&T. So
Okay.
I've never gone, but I understand how you can talk about like groups. You got fraternities, you got sorority, you got teams, things like that. Did you like it there all in all?
I actually did like it at Coppin. I spent a lot of my time kind of like hanging out with friends my first 2 years because, like I said, they I wasn't really accepted as at first at Coppin. Uh, so I just kind of like met some people through just like going out or the music scene, and then kind of became friends with them. So sometimes I would end up in like other areas in Baltimore, other colleges, meet new people. So that was actually really good for me. But all in all, Coppin itself, when I really got integrated into the school, was great.
Yeah,
I didn't really like join any clubs or anything, but I was going to homecomings. I was making friends. We were all
nice.
hanging
Yeah,
out together, and like I definitely felt at home a
good,
lot more around like my sophomore junior year.
good man.
Yeah.
Did it does Coppin mix well with the rest of Baltimore?
Yeah.
Do
Oh
people?
yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
definitely. Like Coppin, just like Baltimore's a black ass city. Coppin's a black ass school. You know what I mean?
And
But
Coppin's
like
like
it's
right,
cool.
it's like right there. I remember the first time I went
Yeah.
there was this past year. So I'm driving down north, like, oh, all right,
Yeah,
like all right,
yeah, it's in the hood.
yeah,
It's in the
like,
hood.
yeah.
But they're building that up though. I mean, when was the last time you went?
Last time I was at
Like,
Coppin was last September or October. Probably,
okay,
yeah, one of those
so
two.
all that stuff that you see at Coppin is new and it's huge now.
That's
That
crazy.
wasn't even there when I was going there. And I remember when 2004, they were going to they got 52 mil. They got a whole bunch of money.
Okay,
And there was talk of them getting either a football team or expanding the school, and of course they went to go expand the school. So this is kind of a result of that. They they expanded wildly over the past like decade. Started off with a new stadium and then just went crazy. So, I mean, it's good to see. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous.
yeah,
I'm not, 21 in college now.
yeah.
You know, but it's cool.
What'd you go to school for?
So I went to school for, I guess, business man. It was business management, but I guess my minor was marketing. But like, I didn't really think I really wanted to do anything with it at first until I got into like the music scene, and I thought it was going to be kind of beneficial for me.
Okay,
But to be honest, like, I didn't really like. How do I say this? I didn't really like pay too much attention to the business side of it until I got out of college. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And then
yeah,
I started really applying it. So after that, like it just kind of like started kind of coming to me, and I decided to start putting on my own events. And
yeah.
then that's when the business side really just kind of came to me. So business management was my major, marketing was my minor, and yeah, that's what I went to school for.
When you graduated, did you jump? Because I know you were talking about the music scene,
Hmm.
and we'll talk about stuff you do now for sure. But when you first graduated, did you work immediately? Did you do the entrepreneur thing first? Yeah. When you were out of college, what did you want to do?
So when I was out of college, to be honest, I wasn't really doing events then. I was just doing music, and I just wanted to kind of push that. So I was working.
Okay.
I was working. I forget where I was working. I was working at Abercrombie and Fitch at 18, from 18 to 19, 18 to 20. So I was working there for a while, making my little, minimum wage. It was cool, I was living on campus. And then, I was just kind of trying to push my music. Um, you know, rolling with different people, Wisdom Court Entertainment. We did a group called Team Flex as well.
Okay.
Me and my friend Phil Lynch. Shout out to him. That went pretty well, and then yeah, then I started getting into kind of like putting my own events because I was going to other people's events. I was supporting other artists, and I was seeing things I didn't really like. Like for example, like you go to a hip hop show and there's like 20 artists on the bill, and I'm like, I don't want to see all these hip hop artists. It kind of gets repetitive and old after a while. So I started doing hip hop shows with 5 acts on the bill, 4 acts on the bill. Now when I do events, I don't put a lot of people on the bill. Like if I got something with a DJ, I put one DJ. I got one. You know what I mean? If I have a concert where I put one band on the bill and it works out perfectly. You know what I mean? So like I've learned to kind of like do things my way. Um, and it's been working for me. You know what I mean? People have been seeing that, there's been like, things are a little bit different over here at the Bentley brand and Coffee Club as well. So
So when you were first in music, what were you doing musically? Singing,
hip
writing,
hop,
rapping?
hip
Hip
hop,
hop.
yeah.
Okay.
So I started out doing rapping, hip hop. You know, I got into singing a little bit, but mostly hip hop. I had like a little funk band I was going with at
Okay.
a while, like a hip hop funk band that was going on for a while. We didn't really do any shows. Short-lived like rock band as well. But like I said, mostly hip hop until, and I've been doing that until about like 2010 when I started getting the singing involved. But it wasn't really R&B. It was just kind of like the rap sing, kind of like the
Yeah.
Drake style. That was around the time when Drake came out. So,
Okay.
everybody wanted to be like him at that time. So I took that and I kind of made it my own. And then, I kind of got into the pop world a little bit and like the EDM world, and tried my hand at that. So I've been kind of all around putting my own Shepsworth Bentley style in different genres, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man. It's Baltimore has an interesting rap scene. Like,
It does.
DC does a, like Go, of course, DC. And now they have rappers, but a lot of that, and they had different things in the past. But I've
Hmm.
noticed recently, most of the stuff I hear is like of the drill sorts. Baltimore, from growing up, and I'm gonna date myself. I'm 40 now, but like it wasn't. There were people listen to rap, they listen to hip hop,
Hmm.
but I also hear a lot about house, things like that, where
Love
the
house
music,
music.
yeah, the music variations were different. So,
Hmm.
would you say when you started making music that Baltimore had its own, like for example, I grew up in Boston. I'd say like most of the music you would hear if you went to a show is like New York based hip hop, like New York sounding, that 90s sounding kind of what they were doing in New York is very similar. When you were coming up making music in Baltimore, what did the music sound like? And in terms of hip hop and what you were making, was it somewhat similar or no? Was it like totally different?
What I was making was pretty different. I was very versatile though, so I could make that stuff, but it was pretty different after a
Okay.
while. But the Baltimore scene around there was still kind of trying to find an identity. Excuse me.
No, no. Good.
Um, yeah, we were still trying to find an identity. I think we kind of still are,
Yeah.
even though we're kind of like because of the internet, a lot of um, you know artists are going viral now. We're getting a lot of Baltimore artists in the mix, but we were still trying to find an identity. It was definitely like raw, underground, kind of rugged,
Okay.
but there was always like an air of like struggle to it. It's very like I hate to say blue collar because like rap and blue collar really don't mix. But if you think about blue collar and like the uh the hard work, the ruggedness, the rawness of it, that's what I mean when I say that. You know what I mean? It kind of went,
Yeah.
through the music. Like for example, and then there's other rappers like Easy Jackson, you know what I mean, who's on like more of the chill side. He's like one of the most popular and most well established rappers in Baltimore, one of them. So it was just different. And I think they were still trying to find an identity, but there were a lot of rappers that did different things that blew up, like Bossman, Test Me, Easy Jackson, of course, or let's say Test, not Test Me, Test, Easy Jackson. And then there was TT, the artist, the club queen, who lived in Baltimore, moved out to LA. She kind of took Baltimore club into her own hands, rah rah. So there's a lot of artists that have actually made it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you remember MIA, I fly like paper, get high like planes.
Yeah.
So she discovered Rai Rai, and
That's
she's
crazy.
been on, and Rai Rai was actually on 22 Jump Street, I think, too.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? I think that those type of artists, the art DDM too, that's another big one. They all are kind of like different. You know what I mean? They're all a little bit different than what Baltimore is, and they push themselves out there to get outside of Baltimore, and people realize that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I hate to say it, it's like Baltimore isn't really like crabs in a barrel like it used to be, but you can only do so much here. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because
yeah,
people really want to keep it Baltimore, and which is fine. You're welcome to
yeah.
keep it local. It's great. But if you want to do stuff, and I learned this a couple years ago, really, I really learned it a couple years ago. Um, if you got to get out there, you got to get outside of the city, because the people, your hometown ain't gonna support you until other people do. The people
Which
that don't know
it's
you are
weird
gonna
too. It's weird.
right. It's weird.
Yeah,
They're not, and like I'm being so real. Like they're not gonna support you as much as like the people that don't know you do. I went on tour in 2022. Nobody knew who I was, and they when they heard me do music, and I wasn't even on tour for to rap. I was just supporting the people I was on tour with, Logan James
yeah,
and Gorilla Zoe. And so I was on tour with them, and like people were like so fascinated by the fact that like I was different. I was going to Atlanta, I was going to Miami. We were going to the hood spots. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I did not fit in there. But like when they heard my music and saw, the kind of personality I had, they were kind of hooked. You know what I mean? So I met some cool people and made some cool friends. And then when I came home, like I kind of saw the support kind of going up. You know what I mean? Because they kind of see me out there doing stuff. So
yeah.
it just kind of got me into this mode. So when I got home, I just kept it going. I focused less on music though, because the thing is with the tour, I was like, yo, I want to do this because I want to do music. When I came back, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna focus less on music and then focus on these events because I think these events can really do something and my ideas can do something. And I could still do music on the side. I'm always in the studio.
Yeah.
So
So you went, so you did music, then you
mhm.
pivoted to just doing events, and
Mostly, yeah.
mostly.
Yeah.
So was that for? Because we're going to talk about Coffee Club too, but was the event thing
Yeah.
first? You started doing.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Wait, after I switched from music,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That was the first thing. I was already kind of doing both at the same time, but like when I came back from tour, that's when I really started doing it because I already had come up with the coffee club idea. The
yeah,
Bentley brand was already getting kind of established at the time because we were doing events before the pandemic. We were doing comedy shows, we were doing concerts and stuff like that. So I was getting my name up there. So when I turned straight into events and mostly events, it just kind of like clicked. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that started that, but then I started learning other things about the business that I could use to utilize myself, my skills, like everything from promotion to content creation, creating sponsorship decks, uh, uh, you know, um, artist booking. I used to work with an artist called Grayson Moon.
okay,
Check him out. This dude is amazing. He's probably one of the best singer-songwriters in Baltimore.
okay.
Swear,
Grayson Mill.
swear down. But so I've not managed, but I worked with him for a while. So like I've gotten a lot of experience through just doing events. Through a lot of experience doing other things through events.
Were they just music events?
No. I've done networking events too, but I've done like DJ type of events, which I guess in a sense is music, but mostly music, a little bit of networking event, some networking events. I've done like I've even like I've had an activist stage for a while, and I don't regret that at all. But I did, I've organized a couple peaceful protests, of course. So I mean that's I'm an organizer. You know what I
You
mean? I
bring
can
people
do
together. Yeah, I like
yeah, I
that.
can do anything. If it's a cause that I'm passionate about or I like I'm not gonna put anything on I don't like or don't support. So if it's like a group that I like for example, we did this show with this artist called McWavy. Beautiful. I don't know if you ever heard of Masego, but she's kind of similar to
Oh yeah,
Masego a little bit.
yeah. I'm saying.
But also different. Amazing. Um, I liked her. I put her on because I like her. You know what I mean? I like her as an artist. And I want other people to hear that. And the same thing with protests, the same thing with my networking events, because I want people to hear the message that these other people are bringing. Like we got a networking event tomorrow. It's a really creative networking event called the Young Creators Mixer. It's going to be at Christopher Schaefer Clothier over in Fells Point from 6 to 9. And I like stuff like that. I try to do
Yeah,
stuff like that to kind of keep it creative. So.
nice. So what is that then like in your city? So I know you were talking about the music, and I can understand that
Mm-hmm.
People want to keep things the same.
Mm-hmm.
For example, my friend Sean, who was doing comedy, when we would go to comedy events, there was always a place for that stereotypical Boston accent guy. People love it. So like if
Yeah.
you were at a comedy club by a hotel, you'd always have to have one guy on the bill who'd be like, yeah, me and Monty walked down. Like people eat that stuff up. So there were
Yeah.
comics who could always find that. So I understand that from a music perspective. In terms of the events that you're doing, I know there are different styles of events.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like getting venues and getting people to show up in Baltimore? And the reason I ask is because of just me doing the one showcase in Baltimore and seeing how different the city can be
Mm-hmm.
across styles, races. Like Baltimore can get really alternative and artsy. It
Mm-hmm.
could also just get real hood.
Mm-hmm.
And you're from there. So in terms of,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I'm doing an event now. I want y'all to show up and show out and come to this part of town. Was it hard to get people to buy in? Was it, since you'd already built up networks going to Coppin and being, being from the city? Was it easier than you expected it to be? How, yeah, and specifically just getting people to go. What was that
Mm-hmm.
experience like when you were getting that event company off the ground?
So it was very difficult. But as you make connections, it gets easier. But it was very difficult, especially because one, I didn't really have too much knowledge on like, we were just starting to get like, we had Facebook, but we were just starting to really like come up with like Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that. So I didn't really know couldn't really transition that as quickly to social media as some other people did.
Yeah.
So I was still doing a lot of word of mouth. I was still doing crappy flyers, you know what I mean, and posting them online and just hoping people would be out there. But like what I really found is that like this is important. It's kind of free game here, to be honest. People should pay for this, but you got to come up with a theme or a title or a theme or a concept. You can't just put on like a rap show. It can't be like Lil Dutch, tonight. Like nobody knows who that is. Nobody knows who Johnny Dutch is as a comedian, but they know that I have a like for example, I had a comedy show I ran for 2 years called. Can we curse on here? Or no,
Yeah, go ahead.
no. Okay, I had a comedy show called Fuck Weekends Make Money, and it was a theme comedy show, and the theme was bartenders, servers, and people in the service industry basically telling jokes, complaining about the industry to other bartenders and servers. You see what I'm saying?
I like
So
that.
like people see people are interested in a theme, and then they want to come out to see those people play or they see those people perform, and then next thing you know, you created a fan. They created a fan. So like now I get these people to come out. Like coffee club is another thing. You know what I mean? Like who's gonna come out just for coffee? But like, if you like, make a dance part like all right, who's gonna come out for coffee and no alcohol just to dance during the day? You know what I mean? But I made that happen because I created a thing. Same thing with my show Unplugged, which isn't not an unplugged show. The concept is you unplug from your phones and connect with the artist, the music, and each other. So that's the real thing is create a theme. Like nobody knows half the artists in Baltimore. And I hate to say it to artists, I hate to say it, but nobody knows you. Not you personally. You see what I'm saying? But like
Yeah.
as far as an artist, like you have to realize that nobody knows you, who you are. So you really got to figure out, or even a promoter, like you really got to figure out like how to really get yourself out there. And I think that's the best thing is themes because people don't, you know what I mean? They're not going to know these
Yeah.
people.
I like, first of all, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I love those ideas, all of them
Thank you.
that you just put out. We had a previous guest who's a good friend of mine named Aquil, and he is a wedding DJ. Excuse me, why I said that. He's an events company. He does most of his work as being a wedding DJ. He's gonna kill me. He DJs all. He can DJ anything.
Yeah, no, I get it. I
And
trust
his
you. I got a
whole
lot of DJ friends.
and his whole thing is creating memorable event experiences. And we were talking about how people just follow trends. Like DC's the home of the brunch, and they want to be.
Oh yeah,
DC
best
wants to
brunches in
be.
DC.
It wants to be like Atlanta, and I think it only
I love
works.
it.
It only works well in DC and Atlanta because everyone's beautiful, man. Like I'm married with a daughter, but if you're a single person in DC or Atlanta and you go to one of these brunches, you're like,
Yeah,
"This
it's
is
true.
awesome. This is I could do this every week because
Yep.
it's exactly what I would do." But I just noticed just like driving around, going places. There's a ton of hookah lounges. It's not too different. The experience is the only difference is the place you go to. So I guess the food could be different. But it doesn't really. You don't see a lot of theme stuff. So I like what you did there, and I like your
Thank
whole
you.
thing about getting out there. It's funny when you talk about rap being blue collar. That's what sucks about to me hip hop now. Any art form is that people don't realize you have to start out with nothing. So
Yeah.
you most of the most famous people you can name now who are probably like around my age, 40 or older, started
Hmm.
out being brought on stage by someone else, or literally like John Legend went to school in Boston before he went to Philly doing like open mics, and you're going to comic the most famous comic going to things where no one's there. Maybe one
Hmm.
person there, two people are there. Same thing as artists, and people have to not be afraid of that and put in that work, and then that's how things grow. So that you don't really just come out. Not everyone gets to come out, make a viral video like an Ice Spice,
Hmm.
right,
That's
and then
true.
blow up and then try. You kind of just have to grind it. But the best thing about it is, as you're grinding, as you're probably seeing with your great events, those people who come to those two and then
Hmm.
eight and then 16, those are your friends forever. They really
Yep.
cared about you and what you had to say. It wasn't transactional, and that's the best
Absolutely.
part about it. So I could see that. Coffee Club Social. That was my favorite idea.
Love this. Love this, man.
How did that come up?
All right. So, all right, it's a little bit of a story. So, this is my whole thing of coming up with something different. Sometimes I just think of things. Just want to think of things, and then I'll come up with something that's just like cool. So I was like, you know what? I want to do something nobody has ever done. So I came up with Coffee Club. But Coffee Club was a non-alcoholic, alcohol-free dance party
Okay.
on a Monday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. I did
Yeah.
three of them, and
Okay.
they were very successful. Like we did the waterfront partnership down at the harbor. So we've
Okay.
done a few of them, and they've actually worked because like this is the thing. When I first came up with Coffee Club, it was more of like a mental health thing, getting you ready for the week. It
Yeah.
was called it was called Coffee Club Case of the Mondays.
Oh, okay. That's
You
good
see what I'm
too.
saying? Yeah,
That's
right.
actually good too.
I'm thinking about bringing it back somehow. But I don't know about the 7 a.m. party, but I might do something else with it. But yeah, it started off as Case of the Mondays, but then I realized after a while, I was like, I know this ain't gonna be sustainable. Like it's not. Like nobody's really gonna keep like they might, but like from 7 to 9 a.m. on a Monday, there's only I feel like I'm gonna release some type of like plateau at some point where I'm just gonna end up not having anybody out or not having too many people out. So then I kind of switched it up. So earlier in 2023, January 2023, we came out with Coffee Club the Sunday sessions, um, and that took off. And the Sunday sessions are even though it still has the mental health aspect. NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness, is there all the time, every week, every month. Um, it still brings the fun to it with the DJ. Still has a DJ and it had vendors, but it's in more of an enclosed space because we were doing it outside. But it's more of an enclosed space, so it feels like it's a party. You see what I'm saying? So we started doing that every month, and then it just kind of started catching on with people. I started seeing like the people that would come and checking my statistics and seeing like the type of crowd, and I really just started catering towards that crowd, and it just kind of blew up a little bit. We were doing it at Luna Garden in Fells Point, but they were about to close down, so we switched off to Ceremony, which has been a great partnership. Shout out to Ceremony Coffee. There's I think three in Baltimore and six in Maryland, three in Baltimore, one in Bethesda, one in Annapolis, and I forget what the other one is. So if you haven't been to Ceremony, check them out. But they've been amazing partners. Where we have Coffee Club the Sunday sessions. We just had one this Sunday. We're gonna have another one in actually April. We're gonna skip March, but we're also doing another event on Friday called Coffee Club the Friday Function, which actually has alcohol, but it has coffee cocktails, craft cocktails, from 7 to 9 p.m. at Ceremony Coffee in Harbor Point. So like it's just kind of been a progression. And then the next step after that, not only just put more events, but create a community of people to that love coffee, that love to do really cool stuff around coffee, whether it's cocktails or not. Then we're going to be doing memberships as well to kind of like really solidify that community. So like people can opt into a membership, and you're gonna go on. We're gonna go on day trips to different coffee spaces, roasteries, learn about coffee, go to different coffee festivals. I'm gonna put on. Never mind. Keep that there. I don't want to tell anybody those things, but we got some big coffee things and coffee related things in the works. So
And forgive me if my mic changed. I think my mic was unplugged. But can you hear me
it's
okay?
all good. Yeah, yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
okay. Is this your favorite idea?
Yeah, yeah, I think it is. I think, well, all right. So I don't want to say it's not my favorite, but I don't want to say it is. I think it's the idea that uh, has been working the best, and it's making me want to learn more about coffee and want to learn more about what I'm into. Because I didn't really know too much about coffee. I'm actually part of the Baltimore Coffee Collective too, and we deal with this isn't consumer focused; it's more industry focused. But being with them helps me learn more about coffee industry. So it kind of is giving me a little bit more passion about coffee, and I get to bring coffee and cocktails together too. Because for some reason, because I'm doing a non-alcoholic drink or alcohol-free event, people seem to think I don't drink. I do. I enjoy drinking, but I just like to give people choices. So,
That's good. Um, yeah, that's good. So are you working now full time while doing this?
part time. I had quit my full time job to do this full time. But I'm also working like a lot of like I'm gigging. I would say
Okay.
I'm doing a lot of like brand ambassador stuff, 2 week long, things, stuff like that, just to kind of like support myself. I just worked the U.S. Coffee Championships this weekend. So, and
Nice.
so it's been that's what I'm kind of doing now because it gives me more control over my time while still trying to support myself, even though money's still starting to come in a little bit with Coffee Club. But I still need to support myself, and my life. So
Has your life balance been okay? You've been able to get
it's
your
been
rest?
tough. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It's been tough.
Yeah.
Like this is my first time really quitting my job, and like even though I didn't really like, I'm not at a full time job. I'm still working. I still kind of feel like I'm teetering towards becoming a full time entrepreneur. But I love doing it. It's tough, but I love doing it. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But like January's been the slowest month for me. This has been slow. Job wise and passion wise, it's been slow. But um, I'm a lot happier. I'm a little bit more broke, but I'm a lot happier doing what I'm doing. And that kind of is reflecting with other people that I'm working with the ceremony. And I think that kind of is what makes them want to work with me more. Um, of the fact that like I'm really happy doing this. I really want this to work. So
Good. I'm really glad for that. I'm happy. I understand exactly where you're coming from. Just know that last year I was laid off, and I was already planning
mm,
a transition period. And I'm like, all right, maybe it comes. And like the way my savings was going, I'm like, okay, fall,
hmm
something like that. It happened in like March. Like this was
oh
not
man.
planned. So good stuff happened, bad stuff happened. It was super stressful, and I'm going through the application process now. But I'm still doing this and stuff on the side. Uh, it's good to know that there are always options. Like I'm not
Yeah.
above. I've worked so many different full time type gig from retail to clothing to
Yep.
startup, corporate. So I don't worry too much about that. But it is nice to be able to find more time to commit to the things you really care about, and it
Absolutely.
just it feels different. It's I like work, I don't mind being an employee, but getting the most, like, for example, like we're streaming this and I see one comment, probably a friend of yours, hopefully could be from V. It's just fire.
Yeah.
The reason
Shout out
why.
V. So
Yeah,
can I say
yeah.
one thing about? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no,
No,
no, no. No,
I'm about to
I'm
rave
just gonna
about V.
say no. You definitely gotta go. You gotta definitely say it. Only thing I was gonna say is those three flames right there are
Hmm
worth so much more than, because it's like this is us being us, talking, and it's worth so much more, you know, than receiving kudos from somewhere else. Because it's like you care
Mhm.
about this, you put whatever time you have into it. So well, that's the only point I was making. Is like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely. I'm not the big hustle guy who's like, oh, I'll break your back. No, but those small successes you get, like what you're doing with Coffee Club, it makes it all worth it because you're like, I
It
don't know
really
where this is gonna
does.
end up, man. But hey, man, these people showed up. This is awesome. But no, go ahead, shout out V.
Yeah, so V is an amazing artist, man, and you got to check her out. Subtle Smile. It's spelled with the X in front, and then Subtle X Smile X with the little R on the end. But it's really good. She's an amazing artist, and we're actually going to be doing a art show. She's a client of mine as well, and we're going to be doing an art show at the 410 Loft on April 6th. Yo, I'm telling you, she's an amazing musician, artist, great, amazing. So I want y'all to check it out.
Nice.
Subtle Smile. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We've been working on getting this venue, and they've been kind of giving us the runaround a little bit, but it's all good.
I'm actually gonna reach out to you for a few things
Okay.
in the future. We're gonna do another showcase. I saw your event. I didn't get to go to your unplug event.
Oh my gosh, man, it was
I was
great.
home with the baby, but
All good.
Baltimore Unity Hall. I was like, what? I looked at the
Yeah,
venue because I want the next showcase to be visually super appealing, like layout, backdrops, all of it. But I'll definitely
it's a
need your
great place.
expertise on it. Yeah, it's definitely going to be an experience. Um, all right, you got a lot going on.
I do. I
Yeah, you're making
do.
you're making progress. Magic wand time. If there was a person you could meet, and I don't mean like a crazy celebrity, but if there was a person with a certain skill set that you could meet, or something that could help you, if there's a network connection that could be made that help you take this to the next level. What would that be? And I mean examples. I have friends who say, "Man, if I can meet a business consultant who can help me organize my milestones, if I can get an accountant to help me with taxes and things of that nature, if there was one person with a skill set or one thing that you know
Hmm.
that's exists out there that you'd like to combine with what you're already doing to take you to that next level, what do you think that
Hmm.
is?"
To be honest, simply an investor because I have the idea, and Coffee Club can go anywhere. I'm not even talking about just the Bentley brand. I'm talking about Coffee Club itself. It
Okay.
can go anywhere. Like I can do it with any type of genre of music. I can fit it into any space if I want. I can fit it into art. I can fit it into networking. I've even done it with cannabis. So I can do that and really make it marketable. One angle I'm trying to do is do it as like VIP or like pre-parties for attendees for festivals like maybe Broccoli City or National Cannabis Festival before the festival. If you want to like gear up, come through, have some coffee, maybe have a couple coffee cocktails depending on what time it is, and go to the festival. You know what I mean? It's like a pre-party for so like there's a lot of it's very marketable and there's a lot of ways you can angle it. It's just like who's gonna bite, who's gonna stick. So really, I'm not gonna lie to you, investors, sponsors. If y'all watching, I got sponsorship deck ready for Unplugged too. But we're talking about Coffee Club, and I have a sponsorship deck ready on deck for you.
I like it. I think you can. This could be a lot. This could do a lot. I'm huge on coffee. I drink it to stay alive at this point. And it's to me, it's
Is
different.
it?
It's different. I like to drink. Like I have a full bar. I don't really use it.
Hmm.
If I'm drinking, I usually like craft beer, like
Hmm.
from specific places. So I get real bougie with certain things.
I get
Coffee,
it.
I like it because I miss. That's one thing I miss about Boston is that you can get it from so many different places and experience is different, and it
Hmm.
drives so much. It drives so much conversation. It drives networking, and it's just it can they can be a lot more. They really are a central point of the workforce of all types of the workforce
It
and
really is.
across like economics across neighborhoods. Like you got the guys going to Dunkin' Donuts, you got the folks going to I'm just gonna start name dropping coffee places, but I don't care. Starbucks, Intelligentsia, like it's a central part of life. So I like what you have going here.
Thank you,
Um,
man.
I
Gotta
can't
check
wait.
out ceremony, man. Gotta
Yeah,
check out
I
ceremony.
gotta get
Yeah.
down there. I gotta get down there with you all. So how can people help you, support you? We're looking for investors, so we gotta see if we can help you find that.
Mhm.
Where do people find you? Socials, and anything you want to
Uh,
shout out?
yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. I'm Shepsworth Bentley, SHEPSWORTH, Bentley with EY. And then you can do the Bentley brand is my um, I guess parent company, brand with a V. And then Coffee Club Social is the new brand that's really taken off. So you can find me there. My website, thebentleybrand.com, brand again with a V. And you can just find me around Baltimore or even DC sometimes, just networking. Feel free to come out and say hi. Feel free to come say hi. You can catch me at Coffee Club I think it's going to be Coffee Club Social, the Sunday sessions. I think it's going to be bi-monthly from now on. But you can catch me there. So, find me where you can find me. I'm everywhere.
Yeah, we definitely got to look into that. Well, my partner Colgan, who did the showcase with me, does a lot of the project. We do a lot of our projects together.
Hmm.
He, when he gets some time off, we're gonna just go down there. We want to just shoot more people in their element, um, and get more of the city and more of the
Yeah,
life in the
yeah.
city and do some in person stuff. So we're definitely gonna check in with you, and we're definitely gonna do a check in. I feel like I want to continue to do these just to see where people are at, man. See where we're at mentally, progress wise, financially. Like, we can. I think there's a good collective in Baltimore, and I think you're on to something really big here.
Thank you,
So
man. I
I just want to
appreciate
do what we
that.
can. Yeah, just want to help you get that out there, man. I appreciate the hustle you're putting into it, man. It motivates me, gets me going.
Thank you. I'm about to get on the computer as soon as I'm done
Yeah,
there.
hey, yeah. Well, Shep, man, thank you so much for doing this. I
Hey, thank
really
you, bro.
appreciate it.
I
Um,
appreciate you. I hope we able to do this soon again. I would love to. I love doing these things. To be honest, another thing I need is press.
okay.
I need people like you that are able to interview me so I can get myself and my brand out there because I'm doing this with barely any press, barely
All
any
right.
media.
Let's get it out. Have you done it? This has got to be. We'll get you in DC because what I've been thinking is we started in Boston, went to Baltimore, through mutual friends, and just been meeting some
Hmm.
great people. What I want to do is we've been reaching out to folks in DC, but I'd like to bring folks from Baltimore to DC because, like you said,
Yes.
things silo. So I'm like, why not? So we'll get it going. We'll
Yeah,
get it
yeah.
going.
Let's talk, man.
We'll
Let's
get it
talk
going.
more.
We'll get it
Definitely.
going. All right. Well, everyone who's listening, anyone who's spent a second paying attention to this, one, forgive me for my mic going out. I tried to unplug my phone and it just went crazy. Thank you. If you want to spend any time, please make sure you check out Shep's pages, support it, give him money, give him time. The Moonlighters Club will be back soon. We have a lot more interviews lined up. And again, Shep, if there's
Yes.
anyone I can
Awesome.
connect you with, I will. Folks out there, if
Absolutely.
you yourself are doing this, living this lifestyle, please reach out to us. Joel is my name, joel at moonlightersclub.com. Thank you again for your time, everyone, and we will see you all soon.
Awesome.